we're going to rank all 18 of the Sims 4 stuff packs, and yes, this is just based on my opinion. Hopping over to our tier list, and at the top you'll notice that we have iconic, and then over 5 stages we drop down into don't buy. Let's start with luxury party stuff. And this one isn't all that great. There is simply not a lot of new objects, although I do kind of like what they bring. The biggest problem though is that the hero of this pack is the banquet tables and the fountains, which essentially are great for events because they let you serve a whole bunch of people in an instant. The problem with these is that they also came with My Wedding Stories. It simply makes it redundant. Then in terms of cast, you do have some kind of glamorous and fun looks, and I do enjoy them. The problem is that I think that the Get Famous expansion pack really does cover the glamour a lot better and for a much more cost-effective price. So I feel like over time this stuff pack has just been made almost completely redundant, and so I'm popping it into the don't buy section. Now we set the bar low, and I'm here to tell you that we are not raising it, at least not yet. Perfect patio stuff is what we will look at next, and unfortunately this suffers from the exact same thing as luxury party stuff. The main hero is the hot tub. You can woohoo in it, you can live your best life, there are lights, there are stereos, there's everything going on, amazing. The problem is that for the Sims 20th anniversary, they literally added in a base game hot tub. So essentially you don't need this anymore. What I will say is that some of the outdoor furniture is quite nice. I do think it's nice furniture that you might actually use here and there and build and buy. The cast, on the other hand, very sparse, not that great, definitely not worth buying for. Unfortunately, I'm also popping this one into the don't buy section for the exact same reason. There is nothing that this brings that you kind of don't have already. Now for the cool kitchen stuff, and this one is a little bit better, but still not that great. And this does bring with it a lot of kitchen build and buy objects, but overall, none of them really speak to me. Nothing jumps out at me, there's nothing I really love, it's all just a bit eh. I would say that the kitchen clutter is kind of useful, and I do like the hero of the pack, which is the ice cream machine. You can make all different flavored ice creams, and some of them have some really cool effects. For example, making your sim lose a whole bunch of weight, and also turning your sim skin green for a while. I mean, I'm totally here for eating ice cream and losing weight. I'm living for that aspect. But overall, it's just not heaps. It's not a huge gameplay element you're going to use all the time. When it comes to cast, it's just super vanilla. No pun intended, but give me some choc chip, give me some strawberry, give me some chocolate. Nah, all just vanilla. Nothing in the cast is going to send me into meltdown, and that's a problem. Overall, I'm popping this into oofed. It's okay, but I think it could have been executed way better and offered a lot more. Now for the spooky stuff pack, and this one isn't so much serving horror movie as it is serving let's decorate the house around Halloween, which I will say Seasons allows you to actually incorporate that holiday. Now in terms of build and buy, I just don't like it. It's all a bit too childish and a little bit too ugly. What I do enjoy quite a lot is the hero, which is the pumpkin carving station. And this allows you to use the handiness skill to essentially craft pumpkins. You can preserve them, you can display them, you can light them. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. There is another gameplay aspect where you can actually hold spooky parties, and these are really fun, and they are great for teenagers and child sims in particular. It gives them something new to do, it gives them something that's a bit different, a bit fresh. I enjoy it. What the problem is that then the cast of the pack is all focused on costume. It's all just haunted costumes that are fun for an event, but then will never come into your gameplay 99% of the time, and that's a bit of a detractor. Overall, it's really the pumpkin carving station and my love for it that is keeping this one afloat, and it makes it go into the okay section. Dare I say, if it wasn't for my love for that pumpkin carving station, it would be lower. Now for movie Hangout, and this one is quite a lot of fun. The build and buy is super bright. It's super engaging. I use the objects quite a bit. There's a lot of objects like movie posters and big screens that can really bring a movie setting to life. But that being said, it doesn't go that much more beyond what we already have with televisions in the base game. There's nothing vastly new that really captivates you. I will say that there is also a popcorn machine appliance, which is good fun. Kind of like the ice cream machine, but you make popcorn. And I do enjoy that, but it's kind of just not enough. There's not enough that's new for me to really love this. I do like the cast though. The cast is really good. It gives fortune teller, but make it a little bit more extra, elevate that fortune teller life. I love it. Very bright, very colorful, a little bit weird. So here for it, so here for it. I've popped this one into okay as well. While I think it does have a strong build and buy and a strong cast, I think it doesn't have enough gameplay in it to really go beyond that okay section. Now for romantic garden stuff, and I really like this one. In terms of build and buy, it does bring a lot of like very intense garden features and sculptures that they're nice, but you probably won't use them all that much. What I absolutely adore, what I absolutely love is all the new flowers. They're just super colorful and super fun, and I find myself using these all the time to decorate all sorts of different places in super colorful gardens. I absolutely love it. I'm so here for it. It feels just like a bit elevated over what the other garden kind of plants are. Not to throw shade at other plants, but like, you know, more colors, I'm always here for that. The build and buy also brings with it some really great gameplay features, notably a really giant fountain. You can go into the fountain, you can sit on the fountain. Anything you think you can do with the fountain, you can do with this fountain. Okay, maybe not everything, but you know, you can do a lot of things with the fountain. Then there is also the wishing well, which is absolutely incredible. Now you can essentially give a monetary offer to this well in exchange for then making a wish. And essentially, the more money you give, the more likely you'll get a better outcome. However, a good outcome is not guaranteed. You can wish for various things like money or love, but who knows what will happen. Your sim can end up being turned into a ghost, they can be awarded heaps of money. It just adds so much chaos. It is so fun to use. It's so bizarre, and it's just really good. Really underrated object. It's something that you kind of like forget about, and then you realize it exists, and you realize that it makes your life better. One of those things. I also think the cast is really strong here. It's a lot of florals, and I use a lot of the men's tops, but also a lot of the dresses from the women as well. I think are really fun. Overall, I'm popping this into the hot section. I think it ticks off cast, it ticks off build and buy, it ticks off gameplay, it's got it all, and every area is relatively strong. Really do enjoy this. Now for the kids room stuff pack, and this one's okay. The build and buy is decent, it fits the theme of kids room. I just think that kids room stuff doesn't really appeal to me all that much. What I do really enjoy is the Void Critter battle station that comes with the pack that kind of introduces a collection as well where you can collect Void Critter cards. It's kind of like Pokemon in a way, but then kids can pop these cards into a battle station and then verse each other. And it's kind of cute, and it gives like kids a good like unique activity to their age group that I think is really fun. I also adore the puppet show that comes with this pack. I don't know what it is, but half the time when I have a kid in The Sims, in my mind I'm like, they will go into theatre and I must train on the puppet show. And so the puppet show is just perfect. I'm like, yes, play puppets, perform, live your best life. In terms of cast, it's a bit hit and miss. It's okay. Some of the kids' clothes I really like, some of it I don't really care for, but it is very focused on kids. I'm popping this into the okay section. While I think the gameplay is really strong, the other areas I'm just like, they exist, they're there. Bring on the backyard stuff, and this one has a really bright and fun aesthetic. I do like the build and buy generally, however I don't think it adds anything that's that new or that groundbreaking. The big hero is the water slides, and while these are fun for a while and they do have some really cute animations, overall there's only so many times you can see a sim slide down a water slide. And for me that's about 3 times before I get a little bit bored of it. It adds some drink trays which are fun too, but if you have the Spa Day game pack then you'll generally have this covered. Then when it comes to cast, it's okay. I'm really here for the overalls. I really love them. I love that look, but everything else, I'm just like, it's okay. It's not giving, it's not serving, but I do feel like everything has a generally nice, bright, cohesive theme. I am gonna put this in the oofed section. It's just lacking a bit in all areas. Now for vintage glamour, and in terms of build and buy, there's actually quite a lot of objects and I do enjoy them quite a bit. Most of them are a little bit more glam, so it's good for like richer families. What I will say though is there is this giraffe lamp, and I will never not be traumatized by the giraffe lamp. I don't know who thought of a giraffe's body with a lampshade head, but it was not a good idea. It was just bad. It does have some cool hero features, like it does have a small little globe bar, which is fun. It does also bring vanity tables, which are kind of cool. What I really do actually love is the fact that it lets you hire a butler, a live-in butler who will actually stay with you, clean your house. Really fun. I feel like the butler is what elevates this pack and gives it a lot of purpose. Also, just the sheer amount of build and buy object is pretty good. You've also got Cass, which is okay, not a standout I would say, but it's like nice. The Cass is alright, does well. Overall, I think it's really because of the butler's feature that I'm popping this one into the hot category. Now for the bowling night stuff, and this does focus all around bowling. Pretty much all of the build and buy is focused on bowling and things that would work in a bowling alley, and you do of course get a new bowling lane that you can play, and there's even a bowling skill to go along with it, which I think is really, really good. Bowling can be a fun dating activity, it can be a fun family day out. There are lots of good things about going bowling, and some of the animations are really, really fun too. The cast objects aren't really my cup of tea, none of them just pop and I don't use them all that much, but overall I think the pack offers quite a lot in terms of adding that bowling skill into the game and the activity, and so I'm popping it into the hot category. Now for the fitness stuff pack, and honestly the build and buy is just not my cup of tea. It's very man cave. Everything just says man cave, and I'm not about the man cave life in any way. It does add a hero object being a climbing wall, which is really fun to use. The problem I find is that to put it into any house or space, you need the highest wall height. So I always go to it and then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna raise the wall height just for this one object. So that's honestly why I feel like I never use it, or I don't use it as much as I could. It is a good tie-in with Snowy Escape though, because you can use it to train the rock climbing skill if you have the Snowy Escape expansion pack. The Cass, I would say, is just a little bit weak. I don't think the activewear it brings is really that nice, and I think the Spa Day activewear is so much better, like 1,000,000 times better. I'm gonna put this into okay. Just scraping an okay. Toddler Stuff is next, and this one I'm not the biggest fan on, but I think it's just my personal preference in not loving family gameplay. The cooler that this pack brings functions in exactly the same way as the coolers from the Outdoor Retreat game pack, and you also get a lot of toddler play equipment. I am still stressed by the texture on the ball pit. I know that they kind of fixed it. It was worse, it was completely flat, but to me, I'm still triggered, I'm still stressed, but I'm also so here for the big uproar that the community made over it, for the right reasons. A spade needed to be called a spade. It looked so bad. It's improved a bit, but I think it still needs a bit of work. While the toddler play equipment is quite good, I just find because a lot of it's so big, I never really end up using it. It's more suited to like place in a park for toddlers to then use rather than in your backyard. The pack also adds social play dates for toddlers, and this is a really good way to get them to like meet other toddlers and stuff too, and other families, and I think it can be really good for family gameplay. I just think I don't play heaps and heaps of family gameplay, so maybe it's not really for me. The cast is also very focused on toddlers. All the toddler wear you could dream of. For me, I'm popping this one into okay, but I can see people who like family gameplay more elevating this one a lot higher. Now for the Laundry Day Stuff Pack, which is what the community voted for, and I think the Sims team did a good job in terms of bringing laundry to life with this. You have washers, you have dryers, you have ones that work automatically, you have ones that are a bit more manual. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of gameplay involved. What I will say is that I think I like the idea of doing laundry in The Sims a lot more than I like actually doing it. Like, I'll always get a laundry, I'll have my sim do their laundry like twice, and then I'll be like, alright sweetie, calm down, no need to keep living on top of the dryer. I also do enjoy that not cleaning the lint tray can also cause a house fire. I'm here for anything that causes more chaos. When it comes to Cass, I think it's really strong. It's quite like everyday wear, and it's actually things that I will actually use on Sims quite a bit and in a lot of situations. So I think that's really, really good. Overall, I popped it into the hot category. I think just the clunkiness of doing laundry and the actions of doing it itself and how it gets a bit boring and repetitive and annoying, to be honest, is what brings it down from iconic. That being said, I think it was implemented well. I would have just liked it to be maybe a bit different and a bit more like fun long term. It's time for my first pet stuff, and we could be foraying into our first iconic pack. I'm just kidding, it's going into Don't Buy. I think the major problem with this pack is that you essentially need cats and dogs as a prerequisite, or else you're literally getting like a third of it. Most of the cast is for cats and dogs. A lot of the objects are cats and dogs related. I'm also triggered by the fact that there's this coffee table that is like a fish tank, and I swear every 6 months I try and put fish from my inventory into the coffee table fish fish tank and I'm reminded that you can't, and I'm stressed and I'm triggered and I don't like it. Okay, that's the bad. The good is that it adds rodents, which are kind of fun to take care of, and there's a new death called rabid rodent fever that can happen if a rodent bites you, and that can be a lot of fun. But overall, I think this has to go into don't buy. I think what I would have liked is for everything cats and dogs related into the pack to be thrown into cats and dogs expansion pack, and instead for them to give us rodents and maybe something else like birds in this pack. That would have made me really, really happy. Maybe it's a little bit more worth it if you have cats and dogs, but I'm still keeping it into the don't buy category. Now for the Moschino Stuff pack, and honestly, I think this is one of my favorites, and I'm not kidding. I absolutely adore this pack, and I use it in basically every gameplay I do. I use it all the time. It's all focused around photography, and I am so here for it. The biggest thing for me is the poses. Basically, when you take photos, you can now have your Sims track all different sorts of poses, and it just makes the photos so much nicer and so much better, and I absolutely love it. You also have tripods, which can allow you for better photos and to have up to 3 people in one photo, which is great. There are stage markers for getting people into position for photos, and there are also backgrounds. So you can even like set up your own little photo booths, which I think is really cool by putting a camera on a tripod and then having a nice background. And I do this all the time and I absolutely love it. It brings me so much joy. There's also a freelance photographer career. It is the kind of thing that you'll play like once or twice and then you probably won't play it all that much again. But it is good, and what I do like is that I feel like if you're just trying to be like a freelance photographer normally, you take a bunch of photos, but then like they sell for barely anything. So it does really bring to life the idea that you can make money from photography. There are also new photo frames brought in, like digital photo frames, that you can pop a bunch of photos into, and then it will like rotate between them every few hours. Obsessed, absolutely obsessed. Do I have more than one photo? It's got to go into a rotating photo frame. It does, it just does. That's just the way life is. What I will say is that the cast in the Moschino Stuff pack is an absolute hot mess. I honestly don't know what was going on. It is utter chaos. It is so bizarre. I don't know who signed off on it. I am living for it, but for all the wrong reasons. Overall though, I'm still putting Moschino Stuff in Iconic. I use it so often. It has really brought a lot of joy in terms of what it brings to photography in the game. And I think it's just really, really good. And it's something that you will use time and time again in lots and lots of different situations. Now we have Tiny Living, and this one is a straight up serve. Not even like a serve and landing in the net. It's like a serve and an ace. It just flew by, it delivered in every aspect. Essentially with this pack, you get a range of new build and buy objects that are really, really great for living in small spaces. For example, there's like a wall TV that's also a bookcase, that's also a stereo, and it's just like one slot. Love it, living for it. There are also Murphy beds or like fold up and down beds, which are really cool too. And Sims can sometimes die when they are trying to like put these down. I know, absolutely wild, but also so here for it. Love a new death all the time. The more bizarre, the better. And then of course it adds a new tiny home system through tiny home residential lots. So essentially, if you choose to make it a tiny lot, then provided your house is under a certain amount of tiles in size, it can go into 3 different tiers: micro, tiny, and small homes. And essentially, the smaller your home is, the more benefits you get. And some of these are ridiculously overpowered, like doubling the rate of your skill gain. Absolutely insane, but it's also super fun to use. It makes tiny living really fun. It brings to life that concept. And on top of this, the cast is super strong too. There are some great everyday clothing options. They're really cozy, they're really fun. I use them quite a lot. Honestly, just everything in this pack, as I said before, is a serve. It's an ace, and it's going right into the iconic section. Now for Nifty Knitting, which is another pack that the Sims community had a lot of involvement with, and it is done so well. Essentially, while you have some nice, bright build and buy objects, the biggest draw card is that it adds in the knitting skill as well as an aspiration to go with it, and lots of things that you can craft with knitting, both objects and clothing, and a lot of these are so nice. It is done so well, it is a lot of fun. The pack also adds a marketplace that you can sell things on called Plopsy, and this applies to not just knittables but also to other craftables that you make as well, which can be rather fun to use. And of course, who can forget about the rocking chairs, which we all love. I'm popping this one into the hot category. I think it's really good. I think the focus is on gameplay, and the gameplay then brings to life the cast cast and the build and buy to make it really, really strong. Finally, we have the Paranormal Stuff pack, and this one is probably my favorite out of all of them. It is going straight into Iconic. It is amazing. It is so good. There are quite a few draw cards here. Firstly, you have a new haunted house residential lot, and this is really fun to play on, essentially making your house become super spooky. The lights will flicker, haunting stuff will come up and appear, specters will appear at your house, you might even get a visit from a very, very scary ghost, and you basically have to work to keep all the hauntings at bay. You also have a new seance table that can help with this, and you even have the all new medium skill 2, which can see you perform lots of ceremonies and do lots of summonings. Heck, you can even summon Bone Hilda to help you clean your home. It is so much fun and so awesome. Specters will appear on haunted house residential lots, and you'll need to appease them by giving them craftable gifts that you did, or like photos that you took, or drinks that you made at a bar. And then there is the all new Paranormal Investigator freelance career, which is so fun, where you basically go around as a ghostbuster to various houses, do your magic, work your magic, live your best life, and then you get rewards, and you can even get your own little specters, and they are so cute in their little glass container. The build and buy, even outside of all the gameplay objects, is really strong, really colorful, really fun. I use a lot of it all the time. The cast is so good too. There are so many fun outfits that have a lot of uses that don't necessarily scream haunted or like can only be used for haunted settings, even though they do fit that vibe as well. They can even be used in everyday settings, and it's really, really good. As I said, straight into Iconic, we love it. And with that, our tier list is complete. Thank you so much for watching. This is my first time doing a tier list like this, so let me know if you enjoyed it. As always, if you enjoyed or found this helpful, then please subscribe and leave a like. I would really, really appreciate it. And I hope you have an amazing day. See you later.